and in order to usher in his agenda with less resistance. Sexual perversion. As you can see, we pointed out the anatomy of this creature, but it's also nude. So there's no regard for sanctity or decency. And that's another avenue where Satan has been tremendously successful with getting people to just have tons of sex and just have no regard for, having sex within the confines of a marriage. He's gearing all of humanity towards sexual perversion. And then we have here bestiality. As you can see, this is like a human thing, but then it also has a goat head, and then it also has wings, which are more like a fallen angel wings. But the thing is it's not quite a human, but it's not quite a beast either, or a goat. It's some sort of hybrid. And you notice with this entire creation, which we're going to touch on in a second, nothing is quite defined. Everything is just hybrid. And so Satan is going to usher in bestiality, which is already taking place, but it's going to become more prevalent if he's allotted the time, because this image is his ultimate goal for all of humanity. So it's just a matter of time. You also have false religion, the false religion aspect, where you have the as above, so below, which is an occult creed, which is against the Bible. It's more of a Gnostic belief, and it's just sort of this idea that everything is everything, and as in heaven, as on earth, or as in heaven, as in hell, which is not accurate at all. There's a distinction between heaven and hell, and there are requirements to get you to heaven. So it's not all of this everything is everything foolishness that this image is trying to portray. But you see, you have the false religion here with the occultic star, and then you have just all of this symbolic imagery, and then you have the fallen angel wings, because we know this, that we read in the beginning that Satan and a third of his angels were cast down. And also there's pedophilia, which is not in this image, but we're going to see it represented in another image of Baphomet on a future slide. And the ultimate goal is just this idea of oneness, as above, so below, and oneness. Everything is everything. Nothing is quite defined. And that goes along with the satanic creed, which is do as thou wilt. It's just sort of like do whatever you want. You don't need to have any type of order. There's no order needed whatsoever. There's no regard for structure. There's no regard for discipline. There's no regard for rank. It's just a freelance, free for all that's designed to capture humanity. Because if you tell humanity, hey, you don't have to live by those rules, you can just do whatever you want. If you want to have sex with whoever you want to have sex with, fine. If you want to have sex with your dog, fine. If you want to change yourself into female from being a male, fine. It's just this whole idea of do as thou wilt, YOLO, you only live once, and it's deceiving the masses. And this image, this Baphomet image, is where Satan is in the process of taking so much of humanity. So this actually is another image of Baphomet. This is a replica of a statue. This might actually be the statue that was unveiled in Detroit. And this is where the pedophilia comes in. So you see, in addition to the Baphomet image, they incorporated these children who are now looking up to Satan. And what you notice about these children is that there are no parents around. So this embodies the destruction of the family. And this entire statue is the collapse of society in one essence. Satan goes to destroy the fathers first, and then, once he destroys the fathers, he takes away the discipline and the order. Because if you cut off the head of anything, then the rest of it will die. And so we have these children now who are being raised by society, which in society in essence is this Baphomet creature. And so we have now this destruction of society and the pedophilia aspect, which you're also going to see in the very near future if time is allotted. Mark my words. This has already been going on in history. If you look at times past, if you look at Sodom and Gomorrah, if you look at nations that have fallen, typically this type of activity was taking place when those nations fell. Thinking, oh, that's an archaic type of display. No one actually does that now. That's something old that you said was from the 1800s. Actually, this statue was erected recently as last year in Detroit.
A devilish debut in Detroit as a group unveils a nearly 9-foot-tall satanic statue. The 1-ton bronze sculpture cost more than $100,000 and features a goat head. Ticket holders were given a location where hundreds of people show up for this, including both supporters and protesters. But invitees were then given a second secret address where the statue is actually located.
And so here we are as a society where we have fallen to the point where we have hundreds of people coming out to worship Satanism. The ultimate goal is this: order out of chaos. When everyone gets on one accord and just says everyone can do whatever they want, folks will come into agreement. Satan's ultimate goal is to debase society to any aspect of the image of the beast, so that everyone is in agreement to agree on nothing. Remember how androgynous that entire being was? It wasn't quite a human, and it wasn't quite an animal. It wasn't quite clothed, but it wasn't quite naked. It wasn't quite male, but it wasn't quite female. It was just one big conundrum. The entire society is going to agree that no one needs any type of criteria or definition or regard for order. The motto of the land will be, "Do as thou wilt." Anyone who tries to present moral resistance to this, i.e. Christians, will be marginalized and persecuted. This presents a false image of peace. But 1 Thessalonians 5:3 declares, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." So Satan's ultimate goal is to get everyone on one accord, just like they did in the Tower of Babel. And when they all came on one accord, and this particular one accord is going to be to agree on nothing, to just exist freely. When they all came on one accord in the Tower of Babel, God destroyed it. And when they all come on one accord under this beast system, which is going to be the New World Order system, what's going to happen is there's going to be a small time where it's going to appear peaceful. But then God is going to destroy it, just as he did the Tower of Babel. And so you don't want to be on the side where God destroys things, which is going to be the side of the world. You want to get some sense about yourself and make sure that you're not participating in any aspect of this beast system, whether it be just fornication, whether it be homosexuality, bestiality, or whether it just be living in any way against the word of God. If you're holy, then you're going to see God, because it says, without holiness, no man shall see God. So you need holiness to see God. And go about getting folks to debase themselves. What he does is he uses his puppets of this world in order to captivate the minds of people. So your favorite celebrities, your favorite basketball players, your favorite rappers, musicians, actresses, artists, for some strange coincidence, all of them are making this 666 symbol, which they pawn off as an OK symbol. They're all making this 666 symbol. And this is not even all of them. This is just one collage. So you have to come to grips with the reality that it's not a coincidence that each of these celebrities all represent the same belief system, which is the satanic system. It's not a coincidence. If you want to see more, I can show you more. You shouldn't need to see more unless you're just having some serious cognitive dissonance. But he uses these celebrities, he uses TV shows where your favorite characters are promiscuous, your favorite characters are having affairs, your favorite characters are homosexual, your favorite characters are transsexual, your favorite characters are just politically corrupt, you know, homosexual presidents, bisexual presidents. He uses all of these mechanisms in the media and even in the government. He uses government and religion in order to bind folks and confuse those who are not knowledgeable enough or not as invested enough to go out and learn for themselves and find the truth, which is Jesus Christ. And when he does this, he slowly but surely debases your mindset. You know, I used to listen to a ton of these folks. I used to watch a ton of these shows, and all it does is sear your conscience. And so if you don't have a restrainer, if you don't have any type of moral backbone or background to protect yourself from this imagery, you're going to eventually find yourself condoning this behavior. And this is where the majority of society is now. They are using mouthpieces of these media and political and religious tools. These beasts are being used in order to sway the masses. And your objective needs to be to not fall victim to this. So family, that's all I really wanted to do in this particular teaching. I wanted to allow you to understand that when you participate in certain behavior, all you're doing is changing yourself into the image of Satan. There is a God, and he has a criteria, and there is a Satan, and he has an agenda. And you have to be knowledgeable that these things are real. This is not some rabbit trail that where we're on a whim. This is a real spiritual battle between good and evil. And you need to pick a side of where you want to stand. Satan has placed these tools everywhere around you in this world system. And you have to make it a priority that you won't fall victim to his devices. Satan's great deception.
Okay. That was pretty well done, well spoken anyway. I gotta agree with that guy. Everything he said, it pretty much sums it up. So I'm just going to add a few things to that I see currently and around the world and kind of what's going on. I'll start off with, I guess, today I went to see Star Trek, the new Star Trek Beyond. The movie has Sulu, the Asian character, the guy who drives the ship. Well, Sulu in the new one, throughout the movies, has not been gay or portrayed in any sexual way. So I thought it was strange that in this movie they chose to make his character gay. Now the actor has spoken out and actually disagreed with his character being gay because he said his character didn't seem to have a lot of traits for a gay person in his character role, so he didn't really understand why the writers wrote him to be gay. And it really didn't do anything for the story, except that it showed people in the movie that he's with another man and that they have a child. Well, here's the thing. How do you have a child if you're gay? That's impossible. So you have to adopt a child, right? So you have to go out of the natural and into, oh yeah, adoption is a good thing. But it turns this thing around into it's the war on the family. Let's be honest here, okay? Because a man and a woman is not enough to raise a child. Now we have to have two men or two women. And then the child is raised in a way that it has to